Hello everyone, this is Tanaath of the Silver Legion. Yes, I am actually doing a YouTube video. Well, YouTube audio at any rate. I haven't done one before, largely because, please hold your laughter, because I didn't know how. However, as part of my teacher education training, I did learn how to make YouTube videos and upload them. And as such, I am making this video now. And I may make ones in the future. I am not going to do these often, and I'm not going to show my face for security reasons, and because I still have to live a mostly normal life in which I work and have a job and act like a pretty much normal person in the face-to-face world, and becoming YouTube notorious will probably not help that. I'm still not doing shows. I don't feel like I have anything to add to the current show atmosphere. I was mostly repeating the same information over and over again, which gets a little old after a while. I have no major updates on our end, but I did want to discuss some specific things that people should be aware of, particularly those who delve into the occult or magical realms. The topic of this video is Saturn, sacrifice, magic, and the law of attraction. I'm going to start out by saying that Earth is an artificial planet. This is a planet that was created over 8 billion years ago in another solar system. It was originally built with the purpose in mind of becoming a playground for higher dimensional beings. However, during the process of construction, that project was co-opted by a fifth column who were operating towards a very long-term, long-game negative agenda that is focused on creating the situation that we are currently in. In that Earth is a prison planet, not a playground, not a school, a prison planet, and that it is linked to multiple control mechanisms and has several control mechanisms built into the very infrastructure of the planet itself. Saturn is very closely linked into this. It's part of the control system. One of the things that Saturn is responsible for is keeping down our consciousness using the moon as a way to manipulate the Schumann resonance. The Schumann resonance is not a booster of human consciousness, as many people popularly believe. It is a throttler of human consciousness. If our consciousness spikes, its job is to throttle us down in a controlled manner to keep us from totally breaking free. It has been forced to hike higher than it's ever been due to natural raising in our consciousness, but it has not yet released its hold on our consciousness. We're looking at ways into how to decouple human consciousness from the Schumann resonance without creating an adverse effect such as killing us or rendering us completely insane. Because as anybody who's studied deeply into the Schumann resonance knows, without the Schumann resonance, we tend to go completely nuts. This was built into our brains in order to add an extra layer of control over us, such that leaving or freeing ourselves from the consciousness suppressor would literally kill us or make us completely mentally non-functional. Back to the main topic at hand, one of the other things that is controlled via Saturn is the mechanism by which magical works are powered on this planet. It has been set up so that magic is unavailable to the general populace. And most people think that magic doesn't exist. Those of us who are magical practitioners know better. Magic does indeed exist, and one of the things that is keeping this planet from being more overtly magical is this mechanism, which is a payment mechanism. In order to do magic beyond mere parlor tricks on this planet, you must pay in terms of sacrifice. That can be personal sacrifice, such as shedding your own blood in a ritualistic fashion, or even killing yourself, which I don't recommend. Or it can be the sacrifice of other people, which I also don't recommend. Certain kinds of victims yield a larger payout than others, such as children, particularly children in a lot of pain. The Cabal accomplishes their black magic through the massive sacrifices of huge numbers of children and young people, usually after ritualistic torture and abuse to maximize the sacrificial load. This is what so-called Pizzagate and Pedogate is really about, not run-of-the-mill perversion. It is about fueling cabal black magic. Groups like the Silver Legion cannot compete on a magical scale directly on Earth because we refuse to sacrifice people for the purpose of magic. Instead, what we are seeking to do is undermine the system at its most fundamental level. We do this by attempting to remove the fuel, that is, where we can, physically removing and rescuing children and other prisoners as they pass through areas we can interact with, and by attacking the mechanism itself by which the magical transaction system is enforced. We've had some degree of success with this. What that means is that the sacrifices that the Cabal is making is no longer paying off, at least not to the same extent. They're not getting a magical payload to the same extent that they used to get. As time goes on, they'll get less and less. And as time goes on, this is where you come in. The corollary to Cabal sacrifices no longer paying off is that as time goes on, it becomes easier for non-Cabal people to work magic without sacrifice. This will get easier and easier as things clear up. Magical practitioners and white path occultists might find that their stuff works a bit easier. People who don't practice any of that might find that things like the so-called law of attraction actually start to have noticeable effects in their lives. Now, this is the most important part for everybody who is listening. It will increasingly be that what you strongly believe and feel, and what you strongly fear, will become real to you. My caution is that you be very, very careful what you invest your mental energy into. Try to avoid investing your mental energy into fear, doomsaying, and other negative outcomes, because there is a risk you could draw those into being. Instead, consciously focus your energies on maintaining the possibility of the highest possible outcome for all of us, even if things look bad or are presented to you as hopeless and awful. The Cabal has a vested interest in shaping your perceptions into as negative an outlook as possible, because they already understand how this attraction works and hopes to capitalize on tricking you into attracting bad news. That is the most important thing that I have to say today. Maintain a positive outlook and consciously focus your energies into bringing in a good future. Don't dwell on negativity. Don't dwell on bad news. Don't let your perceptions of what's going on be manipulated by the media. They have a vested interest in making you think that things are a lot worse than they are, or that people who are on your side are secretly evil. That's about all I have to say on these topics right now. Exercise cautious and consciously shape your own hopes and dreams. Before I go, I just have a few things I want to say. One is that it's important to keep in mind when sorting through the many, many people who are talking about stuff like this, that almost everyone has some of the truth, and absolutely no one has all of the truth. It's important to keep what works and discard what does not, without necessarily discarding that person entirely, unless they've proven without a shadow of a doubt that they are not trustworthy or that they are working to another agenda. And even them, you can use them as a barometer to read between the lines and read between the lies to see what they're trying to hide or obfuscate or what they're not saying. If you want to tune into some channels, I would recommend a channel of a young gentleman by the name of Jordan Sather, who goes by Destroying the Illusion on YouTube. I'll post a link below if I can figure out how. I do not agree with Jordan on all subjects, but I have found his analysis, particularly his geopolitical analysis, to be insightful and highly accurate. One thing I profoundly appreciate is his commitment to positivity, which is, as I said before, more and more important every day. Another channel I'm growing fond of is Styx Hexenhammer 666, who also provides some very insightful analysis on current events. If you're into alchemy, he's a good source. I'm not into alchemy, but I know there's plenty of people who are. That's about all I had to say for today. Have a great day.